you guys know where I sit on this one. I won't meditate. I don't need to see psychics.
Whoa. It's not okay to put those two things in the same sentence.
While entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk openly states that he isn't spiritual, I would argue that he is actually extremely spiritual in his actions and beliefs. I've never seen this connection be made before, but I've found many correlations between the things he talks about and the most basic facets of spirituality. Here's a little preview of what we'll be covering in the video. So before we go any further, if you don't know who Gary Vee is, he's a serial entrepreneur, investor, and content creator. Oh, and by the way, he curses a lot, so be ready for some harsh language. Alright, so jumping into the first point, his underlying thesis of life seems to be based on gratitude, happiness, and positivity. This is most apparent in the intro to his daily V vlogs.
I just want to be happy. Don't you want to be happy?
On top of that, I'd say most people would agree that complaining is essentially the opposite of gratitude. Well, here's Gary's opinion on complaining.
T-Rock, it's a good time to create some clarity. I said if you drink $6 coffee, you're soft. No, if you ever bought a $5 Starbucks coffee, you're fucking soft. I'm drinking the $7 coffee because it's time. If you're complaining, like, oh, I don't have any money or I can't start my business, but you're buying $6 coffee, you're soft. If you're not complaining, whether you're $40,000 or $40 million, then drink $8 coffee. I don't give a fuck. This whole fucking system is predicated on complaining. You happy, don't listen to me, right?
In this next clip, Gary shares his shocking and unorthodox way of keeping things in perspective so he can always be happy.
When I wake up, some people meditate, right? Some people work out, right? To deal with whatever anxieties or thoughts they have. I actually sit and truly try to convince myself that I have lost one of the 5 most important people in my life, and that is the biggest thing I do that leads to the biggest happiness I have. Like, what? You didn't sell enough earrings today? Like, seriously though, people lack perspective. Do you know how many people on earth have it way worse than you? Billions.
And lastly, at some point he feels as though he was misunderstood and became known as the hustle guy, when in reality he's actually the happiness guy. Watch what he says here in order to clear up this point.
That when I talk about work ethic, I'm trying to speak to people who are unhappy or complaining. Not happy with your job? Don't watch Netflix. Work after hours, save money, quit. I'm not trying to get people into depression or burnout. I'm trying to address unhappiness.
So that actually leads us right into the second point, which is that he enjoys the process. This is something that he talks about all the time, but watch him here in this clip as he talks about how he's more concerned with the process of buying the New York Jets than actually buying them.
Which is, I love the process of the work. I love the grind. I love the climb. I love the idea of getting to buying the Jets more so than buying the Jets. It's the process. To delegate out what I love would defeat the purpose. Of course, I want to spend as much time with my family as possible, but that would be lying to my soul if I didn't do what I want to do. And what I want to do for a living is build organizations, build companies.
By truly enjoying the process, he's making sure that his happiness is rooted in the present moment rather than in some future moment, as many people tend to do. And this idea of not worrying too much about the past or the future actually leads us into the third point, which is that he refuses to judge himself and others.
Judgment. Judgment blows. I hate how many people judge other people without having all the context. Every time you fucking judge, you make yourself vulnerable. Like, you don't fucking know what's going on in somebody's fucking home, you fucking asshole. So, stop fucking judging people when you don't know shit. But most of all, stop judging yourself. Because when you stop judging yourself, it opens up a world of possibilities. You start doing real shit.
Do you feel like you judge yourself?
I don't. That's a very, very, very good observation, and it's what I want for everybody else. We're beating ourselves up. You're exactly right, man. I don't judge myself. I'm fully in love with myself. But I'm also fully in love with everybody else too, right? It's not like it goes both ways.
In addition to not judging other people, he also likes to remind us not to be affected by other people's judgments of us, which leads me into point number 4. He exudes non-reactivity. Watch here as he explains how he doesn't care about opinions, whether they're positive or negative, or from someone he cares about or not.
It's a game of other people's opinions, whether that's the anonymous comment, whether that's your friend who thinks you're selling out after you popped a little bit, whether that's, for me it goes deep. I can't hear anybody at this point. And I think when people hear that, it can go into audacity and delusion, and I respect that. I think I walk a very tight rope, and I don't think on every day I'm always at my best. I'm sure sometimes I'm delusional or audacious, but it sure beats being crippled by everybody's opinions on an hourly basis, which is the fucking masses.
Moving on to point number 5, Gary believes that love always wins. Not only does he believe that you can be a successful entrepreneur despite being kind, he actually believes that kindness is on your side.
I say all the time, like you know, like hate wins halftime, and love wins the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
And that's why, you know, that's why I always I just think about life that way.
Many spiritual people are familiar with the Hawkins scale of consciousness, and as you'll see here, love is very high up there. So if I'm right that his dominant vibrations are love and joy, that means he's up in the 500 levels according to this scale, which is very high. And that leads us into the next point, which is that he exhibits a great deal of empathy and compassion. He even believes so much in empathy that he decided to name his wine brand Empathy Wines. Also, watch here as he explains how empathy is one of the ingredients that would make the world more awesome.
And if meditation, through a process, is what unlocks people to be happier, to be more grateful, to deploy more empathy, to do all the tried and true cliche things that would make the world awesome, then we would be in a really, really good spot.
And finally, we've reached point number 7, which is that he is extremely self-aware. Here, he explains it in terms of his brain and emotional intelligence being on point.
Yo, bro, your brain is on point, right? Like it wasn't, you know, and I say that because when I say brain, I mean the mental pillars of emotional intelligence that are the foundation of everything I've been talking about for the last 4 years. It's having that centering, having that place, that energy that allows you to navigate through all adversity. It's all of that foundational stuff. I think self-awareness, if you're capable of accepting yourself for who you are, is actually the brightest light of it all. I love being self-aware. I suck at a lot of things. I just don't think about them. Like I can't read for shit. I interrupt people when I interview them 24/7. Everybody's super pissed on the internet about that. Not good. There's plenty of things that I'm not good at. I love self-awareness. It's kept me so happy.
So now time for some closing thoughts. With all this in mind, is Gary more spiritual than the average person because he lives it without even realizing it? Or, since awareness is the basis of spirituality, does him being unaware of his awareness make him less aware? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. But either way, to me, this points to the fact that there's undeniably a set of universal truths out there, but we just explain them in different ways. In Gary's eyes, he calls it emotional intelligence. Others practice organized religions, and some may simply refer to it as spirituality. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought below. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace.